I'm an engineer in geology. I work in natural resources. I evaluate mineral resources, and I know something about agriculture, and I know something about forestry, and the whole discourse about lack of resources and meat is bad is just off track, completely off track. The most sensible thing we could eat for the environment is meat.
Today, I'm talking to PJ. PJ was suffering from a laundry list of conditions exacerbated by the 12 different medications he was taking, each medication added to his daily routine and taken to resolve a problem created by the existing medications. PJ has been carnivore since June 2021, and today we're going to find out how he's doing now. Let's meet PJ. How did you find the carnivore diet?
Well, I was not very well a few years ago. I think I was probably dying. I had a very short span left, and I started to look for solutions, and I became a viewer of YouTube videos more and more. The first person that attracted my attention towards carnivore was Jordan Peterson's daughter, Michaela. I saw one of her videos. I think it was a TED Talk or whatever, and then on Joe Rogan. And then Jordan Peterson was I'm Canadian. He's Canadian. He's quite famous. He became famous in those days. Not that I agree with everything he says, but he was also carnivore, and he's so determined in his way of speaking and so on and so forth. I said, there's something there. And then I discovered Dr. Ken Berry. I bought his book and I read it. Then there was Sean Baker, but Sean Baker's carnivore diet book I left on the shelf for a long time. I put it on the back burner because my way of trying things like that, which was in my view quite radical, is to go dive slowly into it and observe every small difference it makes in my change of style of life. I had no doubt that it would be radical and efficient, but I was cautious, not because I was scared, just because I'm a professional engineer. It's in my profession to be careful and practical and take notes of every little changes. And then it goes on. I started to look at many, many videos. There's a lot of people like you, which I like. Some are a little bit more well structured. I really like your brand, for example, and speaking up about it without necessarily being an expert. And so I watched probably thousands and thousands of videos. That was in 2019, 2020. And so it was all through my life. I tried different things. I was interested interested. I mean, veganism was something also radical that attracted my attention. And I love eating vegetables in those days and so on and so forth. So I was not very strongly attracted towards that because I love meat all of my life, more than anything else, and fatty meat. So to me, it made a lot of sense. But then I started to look at influencers like Dr. Berry mainly, and then later at Dr. Sean Baker. And I bought their books. All of them had books. I read them. And on my way, what I did actually first is experiment with keto, very well structured. First thing I did is I dumped sugar and cereals, all forms of cereals, including so-called vegetable oils. And I saw a radical change in my body composition and some of my problems being resolved. So I dived into keto, and I'm sorry to use the language, but I pissed my fat out. I was losing a pound a day, that is half a kilo a day, for about 70 days. I was overweight. I was not morbidly obese, if you wish. I don't know what the criteria is. But I weighed the last time I weighed to my maximum was 128 kilos, which is I was probably reaching 300 pounds. And my goal was to, if I could, find a way to get back to my normal weight. When I was 35, 40, I would do that. So keto was instrumental to start, but I always kept carnivore in my mirror, back view mirror. And for 6 to 7 months, I lost 70 pounds quickly. Then I hit a plateau, and I was taking a lot of medication. I had multiple problems. Many problems, a long list of problems. Some small, some big. The big ones required medication. So I was taking about something around 12 medications on a regular basis for all my problems. And I started to reduce the doses and then eliminate the medicine. So that was in the first few months of doing keto. But because I hit a plateau, I went paleo. Paleo was like half big salad and a big steak. And I lost another 22 pounds, which is about 10 kilos extra. But I was still not to my normal ideal weight.
So
And
just to, sorry to jump in, just to clarify at this point. So at this point, you were down a total of about 92 pounds?
yeah. Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And so that's when I decided to go full carnivore. That was in June 2021. Yeah. So that was how I got into it. The state of my health in December 2019 is I couldn't sleep. I could sleep more than 1 hour and a half. Of course, I could not dream. I was sleepy all the time, every day, all day long. I would fall asleep in my meetings and whatnot. And I had blood pressure problems, arrhythmia, tachycardia, that is a high frequency blood heartbeat. I had kidney stones since I was 25 years old. I had prostate inflammation. I was taking medicine for that. Suffer from a specific type of arthritis, which is called ankylosing spondylite, form of arthritis that attacks your backbone. And it comes with a bunch of autoimmune problems, which is maybe involved in all the inflammation problems I had, including my overweight. When I began keto, when I engaged into finding a solution to my health problems, I was not sure if I should go plant-based or meat-based, but I was more inclined to go meat-based. So that's why I chose keto, because the basic principle is you don't eat sugar. We don't need sugar. It's a bad source of energy. Gives you a spike of energy and then crash down. It's like a drug, And it is actually a drug. It is acting like a drug, and it's destroying us like drugs. If you take too much alcohol and then you become addicted, or cocaine or anything else. Not that I'm a user of drugs. I was never a user of drugs. I had a little bit of alcohol, but I was never a heavy drinker. But I was addicted to sugar. And so it made a lot of sense to me to change to eliminate sugar. And the cereals, it was just obvious to me that their carbohydrates are basically more complex molecule of sugar. So that's why I got good results to get started. And I just kept on going to carnivore after that.
So actually, just let me clarify the timeline. So you've been carnivore since about 2021, is that
June 2021. So it's a little bit over 2 years now.
Okay. And how have all those conditions gone for you, especially the arthritis?
Yeah.
I'm imagining that was a pretty debilitating condition.
Well, there are days that I could not walk. I could not even get out of my bed to go to the washroom. It was that bad. And So I had pains in my legs that were terrible. I had my sciatic was bad pain in my back, the bottom of my back. Then I had I name a few problems. Okay, so I was taking all kinds, 12 medication more or less, and by the end of the first year on keto and paleo, I eliminated most of it, but I had to go carnivore to lose the last 10 kilo and 20 pounds, and to get into the range of my normal weight, optimal weight, and also to eliminate all the medicines except one. I tried to eliminate the last one was for the blood pressure. It was a beta blocker, bisoprolol, whatever. And I started to have tachycardia, and so a very fast heartbeat. So I consulted my doctor. He sent me to see a cardiologist who told me to take the bisoprolol. But I explained to my doctor and the cardiologist that I was, eliminating all my medicine and getting back in shape. And I mean, they just didn't buy it. They just thought I was a funny guy. And so they told me continue your medicine, but if you're getting better, okay, continue, but be careful, because I had problems with my heartbeat. And the problem was that when I did exercise, my heart started to beat fast. But when I was at rest, I was okay. So I said, there must be a way out of this. But I had to continue the medicine just to make sure I don't have a kind of a incident. And that was last year. And this year, I'm very proud to say that I cut my medicine, that last medicine, which is the lowest dose, in 4. Cut it in 4. So one pill lasts 4 days. I'm quite sure now that I could I could stop taking it, because and my blood pressure has gone down. My heart condition is getting better. And all the side effects, getting dizzy and pains in my leg because of that medicine and other inconvenience, are going away. The problem is my doctor, my family doctor, retired. So I can't get it approved, and quote, but I'm reducing the dose and I have no bad effects. So I think I could stop it any day now. So that's with the medication. But the first year, even before I went on carnivore, I eliminated almost all the medicines. Now, kidney stones I had since I was 25 years old. So, and the doctors then wanted to put me on pills for life, diuretic. And I said, no, I won't. You can use me as a cobaye in medical experiment at the university. I was a student in the university then. You can do anything you want. I give my body to science, find the cause. If you don't find the cause, don't ask me to take a pill. And what they determined is I was having kidney stones of oxalate, calcium oxalate. Now, I was young. I didn't know much about oxalate then. So I just went to the emergency 3 times between that time, 26 years old and 65 years old, because of kidney stones that were very painful. Otherwise, I would, when I felt kidney stones would pass, I would just drink a lot of water and pass them through. And I could see them in the toilet bowl. I could see the stones. I could pick them up and show them to my doctor. So I knew what the problem was, but there was a dysregulation of my kidneys. And all those years, like about 40 years, I tried to find a solution for that. And I knew what the cause was. It was always recurring in the fall. So this is something quite important, in my opinion. I was eating ice cream with chocolate all summers, every summer. And one time when I went to the emergency, I met the doctor, the urologist who treated me was from the Middle East. And he said, he was the only doctor in my life who asked me what I eat. And I told him, well, I have a suspicion that I have kidney stones in the fall because I eat ice cream with chocolate in the summer. Could there be a reason? And he said, yes, chocolate is full of oxalate and ice cream is full of calcium. So you make stones of oxalate calcium. So I said, bingo. So now after that was in my 40s, I started to regulate my consumption of ice cream with chocolate. And in the summer, but I still had kidney stones. Now, later on, when I wanted to go on carnivore, that's one point that I studied, and the regular doctors tell you that carnivore is going to dysregulate your kidneys, too much proteins, it's going to damage your kidneys, whatnot. Well, here's what I have to say with them. Well, I won't do it, but normally I would show only one finger. If I was in other conditions, I would show you just one finger. What I mean is it took me a while, okay, to normalize, to get my kidneys to work properly again, but it works. Carnivore diets get rid of kidney stones in my case. Anecdotal if you wish, but it works. To me, the carnivore diet is a miracle. The other problem that I had was gout, all the pains in my legs. And that's also one vector is the relationship with oxalates and your lymphatic system, difficulty to eliminate rejects. I mean, basically the breakdown of proteins by the muscles and into amino acid, and combination of that with a certain level of nitric acid and oxalates form crystals in your feet. It's unbelievable, the change. When I say I couldn't walk, I couldn't feel my legs. I had no hair in my legs. All the hair had fallen off. I had dark skin. The conditions of my leg was terrible. I had candida, that is fungus, in my toenails, in my groin, armpits. I was, festing with mushrooms. All that is gone. The pain in my legs took a long, long time, over a year of carnivore to get rid of the pain in my legs. On keto and paleo, it reduced. But you eat plants on keto and paleo, you consume a lot of oxalates. There's no oxalates in meat, but plants have oxalates. And some plants like kale and spinach have more. And my salads were full of those. So eliminating plants was great. So I eliminated the pain in my legs, the kidney stones. That took a little bit more time, but I needed to go carnivore to achieve those ultimate goals. Now I said, or I will repeat, that my first goal was not to lose weight. It was just to feel better, to feel relief, get, parts of myself out of that prison. My body was killing me. And the first thing that got fixed in the first few weeks or months was my sleep. I regained my sleep on keto, but carnivore made my sleep perfect. Like I sleep 7-8 hours a night. I can sleep only 6 or even 5 hours, no problem. With the carnivore diet, I can function all day long, can work hard, never have any back pain, leg pains because I work. I recover. Actually, I don't recover. I'm not tired. So, yeah. And so that's my story, a little bit of my story for that. And I have with my arthritis, my specific arthritis, I had eye inflammation, uveitis. The membrane inside the eye is inflamed. And I had the first one in 1996. And I had, after that was 6 or 7 years before the next one, and then 4 years, and then 2 years. And unfortunately, I'm on carnivore now, and I got 4 inflammation of the eye in the last 2 years that I'm on carnivore. but I won't accept that it's because of carnivore. I would say it is part of my problem with arthritis. The way that I metabolize calcium, I have problems with calcium. A little bit of oxalate. I'm sensitive to oxalates. It will make kidney stones, will give me pain in my legs, form crystals in my muscles. And I'm quite sure it's the same problem with my eyes. And I talk with the ophthalmologist all the time that I have a crisis. And they say, no, no, no. They think I'm crazy. So that's regular medicine, just don't get it. I'm not saying I know the answer. I'm just saying that I'm looking forward. The last time I had it, it was not as strong. But they say you're going to have it for life. Well, I hope not. That's what I hope for. So I'm 70 years old this year. I got COVID twice since I started in 2019. First one last 1 month in June of 2020. But it was long, but it was not that bad. I'm sorry, but I did not take the jab for other reasons I won't get into, because I believed that my defense was getting better and that I would have no problem. I was strongly believing that, and that's what happened. I had it for 1 month, but I had no complications, not even fever. Then 2 years later, I got it, 2022, the same time, June, 2 years exactly, for the first time. It was just like a small cold, nothing, it just lasted a few days of congestions and so on and so forth. So I took that as a signal that my immune system is getting better and better. And I feel strongly about that. So just to give you an idea, when I started, I didn't want to lose weight or I didn't expect that much. I just wanted to start to feel better and go into a better direction with my health. And that worked. But keto was not enough. Paleo was not enough. But I understand younger people who are relatively well that are not attracted to carnivore, because I speak about it with my 4 kids and their partners and whatnot, and with my wife. It's very, very difficult. People listen to you, and you get the impression they turn around, they just think, oh, he's crazy. But anyway, they politely, respectfully listen to me, but I speak so much about carnivore diet that I understand they get fed up. So that's for the purpose of trying to spread the news about carnivore. But what I found on the YouTube in particular is the carnivore community is fantastic. I love it so much. I can't stop watching the videos. And so that's why I'm here.
So you mentioned you're 70 years old.
Yeah.
So how active are you now relatively speaking?
That's one point I wanted to make, but you just let me talk and talk. So yeah, in the beginning, I wanted to feel better. So I did not want to do exercise. Okay. I thought exercise will open up my cravings, my appetite, and my brain will be, struggling with the idea of focusing on what I should eat to get better health. So as a matter of fact, I could not do anything. Tried to do a push-up, I could not do even half a push-up. So what I said to myself is, I'm not going to, try to do any exercise whatsoever until I feel much better. And that point came along when I started carnivore. For a year and a half, I did nothing. I got rid of about 90% of my problems, medicines, pain, overweight, but I needed to go on carnivore to wrap it up and finish it up. And also to consolidate my achievements. And that included starting exercise. And so what I started to do as exercise was, because of my arthritis, I had lost some mobility. So I started to do rather very light exercise, yoga style. So flexions and rotations of articulations. Uh, and the other thing about exercise, when I was young, I was quite active. I was very healthy. I was a mountain climber. I like outdoors. So I didn't. I did that until I was about 40 years old. I work in the mining industry, and so I was going underground, going down the shafts, or going in open pit, walking a lot, or going up and down mountains where there's no roads and stuff like that. So I was, and I also coming back with bags of samples, like 20, 40 kilos of bags of samples of rocks on my shoulders. So I think that kept me in fairly good shape until I was about 40 years old. But from 40 to 65, about my health deteriorated, and I didn't do more exercise than walking the airports because I was traveling a lot. And so I said, if I start doing exercise and it's hard, I'm not gonna. It's not gonna be sustainable. So I said to myself, let me take it easy. Everything I do since I started my diet, and especially on carnivore, has to be pleasant, has to be fun, has to be what I want to do in the sense of giving myself pleasure, or I'm not going to last. So that's one advice I give to everybody. Whatever you do, don't make it hard on you because you're not going to last. You're going to suffer and you're not going to want to pursue it. That's my philosophy. So I started exercising, and I started with 2 or 3 half push-ups on my knees, and a few other things. And then I increased it slowly. And today, it's been 2 years exactly, I'm on carnivore, and I started to do exercise. I do 15 push-ups every morning. It lasts an hour. Uh, but I don't even sweat. I do 15 push-ups. I do 25 squats. I work with some light weights, 5 kilos only for my arms, my shoulders, and whatnot. I went into physiotherapy to get advice from a professional physiotherapist to therapist to do the right exercise for my condition, my arthritis, and stretching. And I do a fixed bicycle, and then lately I started to do sprints on that. So I used to do only 5 minutes, cycling, including my hour of exercise. Now I do 20 seconds of sprint, then 40 seconds of slow pedaling, then 40 seconds or 20 seconds of sprint. I do this 3 or 4 times, and I feel it increased in my heart condition. It improved my heart conditions. My leg muscles, my calves are bigger, and that's a small addition that's making a big difference, because if you do a little bit of exercise to improve your muscles composition, it affects all your organs. All your organs, your kidneys, your heart start to work better, because the heart is a muscle. There are muscles in everything, including your intestine, digestive system. So everything moves better, and so that's the conclusion that I come up with regarding exercise.
What does a day of eating look like for you? Are you doing OMAD, TUMAD?
Yeah, I principally do OMAD, but I allow myself to have breakfast if I want to. Sometimes I have a big breakfast and no other meal. That's practically what I did today. If I have breakfast, generally I will have a big breakfast nowadays. Okay, but over the 2 years I have been on carnivore, I varied it quite a bit. So in the beginning, I started carnivore. I had achieved my 90% of my goals, but for the parts I was missing, they were tough to beat. Pains in my leg, gout, and so on and so forth. So what I did is I food wise, I use alternative schemas what I did is I would fast. I did, OMAD is 24 hours fast. Then I did 48 hours a few times. And one time I did 72 hours just to sort of unblock the system. And it worked. And I saw the improvements. And since in the last year, I didn't do much longer fasting. I'm not scared of fasting. I realized quickly that after 24 hours, the hunger goes away and you can last for a long, long time. I read all the books from Dr. Fung. Dr. Fung is Canadian. He's based in Toronto, functional medicine, and he's goes into detail about fasting. And I listen to others who speak about fasting also. So I know I can use it. It's in my toolbox, but at this point I don't use it that much. My weight is very stable, and my body composition is good and very stable. I would like to lose probably another 5 to 10 kilos, but I don't force myself. I eat generally one meal a day. It's basically 2 pounds of meat or a kilo of meat, red meat, and some eggs and sometimes bacon. So I learned that in Chile, people like to eat steak with eggs. So I like that. So I make it my day, breakfast and lunch together. I make a big steak and I eat eggs with it. Now, for budget wise, what I do is I use ground beef very often. Now, I go into a little butcher shop and I ask them to make my own ground beef with a lot of fat. And when they don't put enough, I tell them, put more fat. And if you have any fat left over, give it to me. So they give me free fat, beef and pork. I eat pork once in a while. I like pork, especially pork belly. And I make bacon slices this thick. So I eat one or two with my eggs and breakfast or lunch, whatever. And so when I eat eggs, when I say I eat eggs, I eat 4, 5, or 6 extra large eggs with my meat. My weight is 85 kilo, and I am 1 meter 85, so 6 foot tall. My waist is 36 inches, so my BMI is okay. But I'm maybe at the top, but I'm okay. I'm in the range. Given the fact that I do exercise and try to develop my muscle a little bit, I feel good, so I'm okay. But I would like to lose a little bit more weight, just to feel lighter and more swift. So yeah. So one point maybe that would be interesting that I mentioned in my strategy, my philosophy. I hear a lot of people in the carnivore community complain. Well, not complain, but they say, I got to do it. I've got to do it. Got to do it. God help me, whatever. Now you can do what you want with God or whatever, but it's it's all in yourself. What I think is that people focus too much on will. I need to have the will, or get a push from God or whatever. The invisible hand is in your head. That's the advice I have to give to people. Okay, God is not going to save you. Nobody is going to save you if you don't save yourself. And it's, in my opinion, I have a strong opinion about that, but I would take another interview to explain completely. We have no will. We have no will. We have to accept that we have no will, and we're not going to save ourselves using our will. You can't sit in front of a piece of chocolate and say, I'm not going to eat, I'm not going to eat it. You're sure to eat it. So the point is, the way I did my diet, my journey to carnivore, is it's got to make it easy. I have to take action right now. Don't look at tomorrow. Don't look in the past. Look what you're in front of and take a decision. Well, we say take a decision. That involves free will. We have no free will. Just take action based on what's in your mind at the moment, make the best decision, and the consequence of making a good action will give you strength to make the next step. So it's a little baby step strategy where you don't rely on your will, your good will or your bad will, but you rely on your actions. Focus on the actions, the steps you make, where you put your foot and what you're doing, and put your foot in your mouth and stop, praying for help and take action. And that doesn't mean that you're going to be perfect or you want to be perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm carnivore. Some days 100%, some days 99, some days 98%. I have my little devils on my back shoulders that are crying in my ear. Eat that piece of chocolate, eat that piece of cake, drink that wine. And I listen to them sometimes to get relief so they go away and leave me alone. So don't feel guilt. Be happy. And I'm not saying cheat. I don't call this cheating. I'm calling this living. You have to live. You have to try everything at least once in your life. And carnivore will be fantastic. But don't suffer because you choose to use a carnivore style of life. It's not a diet, it's a style of life. And that's the way I act in my life all the time.
This relates to something that I talk about a lot is you have action and you've got the motivation. And the trouble I find that people often wait, they need to get the motivation to take the action, but life doesn't really work that way. You've got to take the action to become motivated to continue to take actions.
Yeah. Well, it's the
And
old problem of chicken and egg, right? But I agree with you. Motivation is important. But the motivation will come from the actions you take right now. 100%. And where you are today, if you're going to go carnivore, it's already decided in the actions you are taking today. And you have to focus on the actions you're doing to find the motivation to do one more step. And you will make mistakes, no doubt about it. We're human, but it's not a problem. That's exactly how we evolve. Nature is generous. Nature give a chance to everything to thrive and move forward. Now, there's no bad or good in that. The point is, if a plant does not make poisons to humans, then it will be destroyed. It will be eaten. If a plant or an animal has no defenses whatsoever, it will go extinct. Simple as that. Like Dr. Anthony Chaffee says, plants are trying to kill us. Plants have no will. They don't want anything. They just are. Shakespeare was right, when he said, what his famous phrase is, to be or not to be. You are what you are. And we are carnivore. And this is how we became human, different from all the other primates. And that's it. If you go against it, you go backward. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't respect vegans and other style of life. But what I think is right now there's a strong debate between vegan, carnivore, and other style of life. And humans, we continue to evolve, and perhaps we will split. There will be two races in the future, maybe a race of humans that are vegan, another that is carnivore. And guess what? Well, the vegans will degenerate. So I wish them good luck. They will degenerate as we have since we invented agriculture. We've lost 10% of our height, a few percent of our height, and 10% of our brain size. That's what we've lost. And we're sick like dogs. The dogs are not even sick as we are. We're so sick because of agriculture. It's incredible. And I could, but I will not engage in a long discussion about resources. Lack of resources, meat and plants and whatnot, because I'm an engineer in geology. I work in natural resources. I evaluate mineral resources, and I know something about agriculture, and I know something about forestry, and the whole discourse about lack of resources and meat is bad is just off track, completely off track. The most sensible thing we could eat for the environment is meat. Let the animals, take care of the plants. They will eat them. In my presentation of my journey, what I say is I'm a vegan and I let the cows eat my vegetables and I eat the cow. That's the most efficient way to be as humans. And the proof is that we stand out in nature, stand out so much that it's too much, in the sense that we have destroyed a lot of species of large animals throughout history and prehistory, and we almost destroyed the whales, and we continue to abuse of some resources. But if we do it in a scientific or engineered way, like engineering is practical. So if we let the farmers raise buffaloes and cows in different ways, and let them, they feed on plants, and then they dump on the plants the food for the plants. I mean, and they plow the ground. So, I mean, let's give them what they want. Let's make them happy. And then we eat them. You know why? Because they're going to die anyway. They're going to die anyway. So let's let them have a good life and a good end of life too, and a useful one for us. I mean, when a lion kills a zebra, what part of the phenomena is good or bad? There's no good or bad. It just is. I mean, the zebra has its life, eats grass and whatnot, and the lion eats the zebra. And it's too bad for the zebra to have an end of life, but the lion, I mean, it's just a law of nature. The problem with humans is we think of ourselves as gods, that we have the right to do this and do that and destroy our health and destroy parts of the world. And we should not let ourselves do that. We have to speak up. We have ordinary people in the street have to say, I'm tired of being obese, sick, poor, and have no money. Have to go to the doctors? Jesus. I don't go to the doctor anymore. I don't buy medicine. I don't buy fruits and vegetables that rot in my fridge. We always used to throw away half of our fruits and vegetables. Okay, you keep them, you don't eat them, you throw them away. I never do that with meat. There's always a way to keep the meat or use it or warm it up or whatever. I never lose meat. So overall, I consider I save money.
Yeah.
I could eat steak every day, but I'm retired. I'm an older guy. I'm still active. I'm still working. But I eat as much meat as I want. Actually, right now, I eat. For example, I eat organ meats. I always loved when I was young. Organ meats, liver, and kidneys. I eat all the organs. For example, I had problems with my hormones and my erectile functions. And as you get old, they say that's normal. Don't fight it. Let it go. Well, I did not. I went to the butcher shop, the Muslim butcher shop, and I said they told me, just go and eat lamb or sheep testicles. Okay, so I just bought them. They sell them at the Muslim shops, and so I bought the lamb testicles and I eat them. Forget about Viagra. You don't know what you're talking about. Go and eat lamb testicles. It's so smooth. It's white. It's like a white kidney. It's very soft. It has almost no taste if you don't put any spices in it. And you cook it in butter, and you can mix it with kidney or liver or whatever you want, or eat them straight like that. And so you can eat a few I used to buy bags of 5 kilos, but nowadays what I do is I'll buy two or four and eat a meal of it. And it's easy to cook. That's the other thing about carnivore. You save so much time at the
Right.
grocery, the kitchen. So easy.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Another point maybe I should make is that is particular to in my case. My father was a pharmacist, and before going into pharmacy, he studied medicine for 2 years. Then he had a depression because he studied medicine after the Second World War, and they had invented amphetamines. They were giving pills to the soldiers to not sleep, so they don't sleep, so they can fight, don't get killed in their sleep, and can fight better. And it was not considered to be a controlled narcotic. And the students in medicine knew the recipe how to make those medicines in the lab at the university. And my understanding, father was never completely did tell me the whole story, but my understanding is he took those amphetamines when he was going into the examens, because he was studying with two of his cousins, and they were very, very close, like three brothers, but they were three cousins, three in the same program in medicine at the same time. So there was a union between them that was very strong. But he, for some reason, took amphetamines to not sleep overnight to study for his examens. And he collapsed into a breakdown, and he had to stop studying for 2 years. And that's when he married with my mother, and they had me as a kid. And he decided to go back to school, but take a shortcut and study pharmacy. And so he did that. And he worked with companies like Sandoz, the Switzerland company that was more inclined to use natural medicine and so on and so forth. And so he was very strong in studying plants, medicine from plants and whatnot. And I worked with him at the drugstore when he had a drugstore when I was a student. And he told me, PJ, medicines are not designed to be taken. They're designed to be sold. He was telling me, as a half a doctor and full pharmacist, medicines are commercial substance. And doctors today are straight drug pushers. That's all they are. I'm not blaming the doctors. I'm not blaming the health system. It evolved like that. Allopathic medicine is training drug pushers, okay? And there's very few doctors, but there are more and more that are becoming open to functional medicine, carnivore, and so on and so forth. So I think that's quite important. But I learned from my doctor at a very young age that, you should be very careful with medicine. It was unbelievable. I was taking 12 medicines, and so when I gave me medicine for my arthritis, it was raising my blood pressure. So they doubled my doses of the blood pressure, and the drug was giving me pains in my legs and increasing my gout. So they would give me a pill for that, a pill for this, and all the pills were competing to make me more and more sick.
And it's just a cycle that keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, right?
It's difficult to cut it off all at once, to go cold turkey. So this is why I took my time to engage into carnivore. And every time I had a long list of things, and I had my checklist, and I would check this, check that, go along down the list, eliminate medicine, eliminate pain, eliminate the problem and the other. Yeah, so that's it.
So I guess at this point, it's carnivore for life for you.
Well, I think so. I don't believe in anything. So, and I have no free will, according to my world. So what I think is that it works for me now. So I'm in the moment of the action, right? So my motive right now is I eat carnivore. I feel better than I never felt. Actually, I'm in almost in the condition that I was when I was 35 to 40 years old. I shaved off
mm,
35 years of my life. I was dying 3 years ago.
mm, mm.
Now I'm thriving. I'm
It's
looking
a,
for a new position in the industry. I want to become in my industry. I want to become. I actually am a vice president of expression of a mining company, but I want to become bigger. And I tell people around. People see it. They say, "Wow, what's happened to you?" Well, go carnivore. I
it's
meet other
amazing.
I meet other mining executives. They're nervous. They're getting because their responsibilities are increasing. They get promotion, and some of them are getting nervous, close to nervous breakdown, uh, fat. They can't sleep. They have problems to get up and make a presentation of their projects. I tell them, well, just go carnivore. You'll fix all your problems. You have no anxiety, and you won't have any problems. You'll have energy, and you can go on and on and on. So I don't know. I hope
Mm,
some of them listen to me, but it's their life. If they die, I'll take their job. That's it. Because my goal, my next goal that I set up when I started is to live another 70 years. If I can, I want to go to 140 years or more, but in good condition. I want
mm,
to remain active. I understand that principle that if you want to live long, you have to be healthy and you have to have a good life. You have to be functional. I don't want to be in a wheelchair, not remembering members of my family and whatnot and what I'm doing and so on and so forth. I saw too much of that. I have my younger brother who died of Parkinson not long ago,
mm,
and there's Parkinson in my family now. Never we had any Parkinson. Now, one of my brother died of Parkinson 2 years ago. He was younger than me. One of my sister-in-law died of Parkinson. The other one is dying of Parkinson. Not for me. No, thank you.
mm, mm, mm.
I'll pass.
Yeah. It's really it's really amazing how that kind of mindset shift happens on Carnivore for people where they suddenly realize that the future's open for me.
Yeah,
I mean, like yourself, you're at 70 now,
yeah.
and you're talking about, progressing in industry and stuff.
Look.
Oh, so you were modeling for us. Sorry, sorry. sorry.
No,
um,
no.
yeah.
I'm
So
trying
like
to
you're
show off a
70
bit.
now, and you're thinking about progressing in industry.
Yeah,
Where most people are thinking about winding down, going onto the golf course, or sitting in front of the
no.
TV and stuff like that. It's amazing. You're thinking about, well, I could have another 70 years.
Yeah,
Um, and like that mindset shift happens because I guess suddenly when you're doing carnivore, you just start feeling so much better.
yeah. But you feel better physically, as you know,
Mm,
but
mm,
mentally,
mm,
clarity. It's just unbelievable. I'm going to tell you. I stopped dreaming when I was sick, and I started to dream right away.
mm,
And I have dreams, unbelievable dreams, realistic, solving problems. And sleep is so beneficial. When I have a day of work, I work on a strategic level in corporations and whatnot. I solve so many problems overnight. It takes weeks for people to catch up with my way of thinking.
mm,
This is why I think I should be the leader of a group. Can't
mm,
be. I could be an advisor, but people won't follow my advice. I work with some. I have worked, and I continue to work with some of the top strategists company in the world for mining industry.
mm,
My career is threefold. When I was young, I had a vision. I want to be an engineer, and all my life will be structured in a practical efficient way as much as possible. But life is good, you know. I'm not a stupid engineer who wants to live in robots and with robots all the time. So, but my first goal was to go. I decided to work in the mining industry because I wanted to travel. Okay, so I've been around the world about 4 times, and I don't know how many countries. But my first step was I'm going to go and work in the mines, down deep, an open pit, and whatnot, and for many years to get the field experience. And that's what I did for 15 years. Then I went into consulting mode. I wanted to share my experience. I was good with computers, so I went into consulting mode. I associated myself with engineering firms, the largest in the world, and the software companies, the biggest in the world in the field of mining. And I started to train people. I gave 10,000, 11,000 hours of training and so on and so forth. I learned strategies. I used financial analysis and whatnot, accounting practices, whatever, to manage projects. And so, and I knew when I was young, I would do that. I would go and get in the field. Then I would become a consultant to widen my field of experience. And I work with every commodity you can think of: coal, diamonds, copper, zinc, gold, silver, anything, you name it, I work with it. And some of the largest companies, cement companies and whatnot, gypsum. And I work with small miners. I love small miners because things get done quickly and efficiently. They have no time to waste. And now I'm in my third phase, which is to become a mining executive. I was vice president of exploration for mining companies 3 or 4 times in the last 25 years. And now I've been with the company for 7 years, and they're extremely slow for my needs. So I don't know how long I can stay there. It's an interesting company. They have a mine and different projects, but they're much too slow for me. So I don't know. But I know that for the next 30 years at least, I want to become a mining executive. Anybody who tells me I'm dreaming, I tell them, well, what age is Warren Buffett? Can you tell me? Him and his associate are close to 100 years old and still going at it. So, yeah. So anyway, the point is, no matter what you do, if you raise cattle or if you grow products of the farm or whatnot, that's a good position because you can work with nature and outside and so on and so forth. If you collect garbage, that's fine also. Everything is getting more sophisticated due to environment and recycling and so on and so forth. Just be your best in your field and eat meat. So you can be the best in your field, mind-wise and physically. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's very well said. Just eat meat. PJ, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your journey. I really appreciate it.
Okay, I'm very happy. I hope it's useful to some of your viewers. And I wish them, good hard work, not luck. It's not luck. It's action.
Guys, thanks for watching. Please don't forget to click like and subscribe, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video.